Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of FTU Life After the Military. I'm your host, Tony Rodriguez. And for those of you who don't know, the FTU and FTU Life After the Military stands for Fat, Tired, and Useless. This podcast is meant to help people not get to that point. And today I'm joined by my good friend Austin. We were on two teams together back in 2010 and 2011. And Austin has a he's part of a very unique club that most people don't want to be part of, but it's a bond that we all have together. The group of people who have been to the mean streets of Georgetown, and not Georgetown up in DC, but Georgetown, Guyana. And if you've never been there, I highly recommend you go there, because you're going to go there once and you're going to say, you know what, I have no complaints about the U.S. ever again. The U.S. is Shangri-La, it's paradise, and I never want to leave. So Austin, with that, welcome to the show.
That's fantastic. No, it's great to be here. But what about the roti? I mean, we ate a lot of roti, and my memory of it was very good. But maybe I was just hungry.
So the roti was good. What I liked was that the goats seemed to be probably the smarter of the animal species in that country, because at least they would wait to cross the street. They would look both ways to see if traffic was coming, and then they would cross. People, the donkeys, the cows, the dogs, the pigs, the chickens, you name it, they just went.
They did. We hit a few animals, not not people.
Did we go to Suriname?
We did go to Suriname, not for long, just to get across the border to say that we did, I think.
Oh yeah. That's right.
We did the same. We did the same in Brazil. I think we crossed, pulled a U-turn, went back just to, hey, we were there.
Well, you know what? That's funny, because I tell people now, it's like, hey man, you might get sent on this wild goose chase to find the town of Good Hope. It does not exist. It's one house.
You know what I loved about Guyana is that we saw that entire country. Like, that was the nice part. If was it Mambaruma up north? We were like, okay, you got to drive to the river, take a boat, to take a taxi, take another boat up a river for 6 hours. We
So
just kind of got to roam.
at the time it was miserable, but like we were talking earlier, the memory is great. I mean, to see a country by boat like that, by speedboat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, no, like we said, in retrospect, I don't remember very many bad memories other than like wanting to be home. Because, I joined the military and I was single. And then pretty quickly thereafter, I got married because found the perfect woman. And that was 14 years ago. We've been married. We'll be 15 this next year. We just celebrated our 14th. And then when I got out 4 years later, I had 2 kids and 1 on the way. So it was definitely time. I think that was the hard part. But looking back, so fortunate that I dressed pretty much like this the entire time we were deployed, and actually had Skype and things like that. So it was pretty lucky.
Yeah, now some of the places we had dial-up internet, so the Skype was, but at least we had it. It was better than nothing.
It was more like an oil painting as you watched it, but the audio was there.
Yeah, which is great, right? I mean, that was awesome.
I was wondering what FTU stood for. Fat, Tired, and Useless. I like it.
So I got that. That's not mine. That was from the drill sergeants at Fort Benning, what is now called Fort Moore.
More?
Yeah. When you show up for reception, you have to do that first initial physical fitness test, right? And it's something ridiculous, like 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups, and run a mile in 11 minutes, something, right? And I remember they were having people do I could hear the drill sergeant, got another one for FTU. You know, like it's like, oh, this guy's going to FTU. It's like, oh, I didn't know what it was, so I thought it's like, man, maybe that's where they send like the, you know, like the pre-ranger stuff, or that's where they send the guys that are going to be like in Delta Forces. I had no idea what it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was coming from East Los Angeles. I didn't know what any of that meant. And then it wasn't until later on in basic training that one of the we asked one of the drill sergeants, and he said, "No, FTU. That's where we send the guys who are fat, tired, and useless." I was like, "Oh, damn!"
It's like, oh, I'm glad I didn't go there.
Because I was all offended. It's like, man, like what am I doing wrong? Why can't I go to FTU? Why am I not cutting it? You know?
Yeah.
So never mind. It's one of the times that just keeping my mouth shut really helped me out.
Yep. You know, it's interesting. When I first signed up for the military, I signed up under. I was going to be super cool, and I'm glad I didn't get to be super cool because I signed up for the 18 X-ray program, and I was going to be special forces, but then I told them about my shoulder surgery, and they said, "Oh well, this airborne physical that we gave you is no longer good." I'm like, okay, so I've vanilla medic enlisted, and signed up to go to the SOCM course during AIT. And you know where they sent me after that? To Benning for airborne school on the same physical that they'd drawn a line through like 4 months earlier. And so I guess the physical was good. They just didn't, but it meant that, I got to Fort Bragg at the right time to meet my wife, to get involved in civil affairs, to get connected with you and have the deployments that I did versus, probably would have ended up in the sandbox in the mountains. And that'd have been different.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time in the 82nd, but the best part about the 82nd was the day I left.
Yeah.
Because those guys, it's a different world down there.
Yeah.
My best day in the 82nd was still worse than my worst day in civil affairs.
It's saying something, because we deployed alongside those folks down in Haiti, which was miserable. That's probably the longest month of my life.
Yeah, Haiti. I could just imagine. I remember when they were looking for people in headquarters to go, and the sergeant major looked at me and was like, shook my head. I told him I did that, and he knew. It's like, if you try to send me to Haiti, I will show up drunk.
I think the worst part is that so I deployed. Evidently, this is what I do. I just deploy after everyone else, and I just got into the unit, so they sent me down. I think 3 weeks after everyone, and said, "Hey, we'll probably bring everybody back in 2 weeks." But after 2 weeks, every day for about another 2 weeks was the day that we were leaving. And so, hey, we're going tomorrow. Great, going back home. Nope. And to have that sort of day after day after days, it was long. It was long days.
Yeah, I could imagine. So, we did some time together in beautiful country of Guyana, which I spoke to Tom not too long ago, the DCM.
Oh yeah, oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, he's doing great. He retired. He's living life. His daughter's married. She married a young man. He was in the 82nd. They got married before he joined.
Okay.
He ended up at Fort Bragg, and they're out now. They're out living in the West Coast. I talked to him, and we brought that up about just getting on the boat, because remember he went with us up there. It's like, yeah, I was pretty impressed. It's like a DCM's getting on a boat, like he's gonna do this crazy 8-9 hour trip with us. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was good. And then we had Mr. Elkins out there. Do you keep up with Brooke?
A little bit here and there. He just earned his PhD not too long ago.
Oh, you're gonna be in the doctor's club.
Yeah, he's a VIP because he's a full bird colonel now.
He's a VIP. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like he's up there. It's like I'm hesitant to reach out because I think Brooke has moved on. Like, he's living up in the ivory tower now, and he doesn't have time for the a peon like me, you know. So, but I can say I knew him. Like I knew that guy.
I knew that guy once.
Yeah.
It's good.
But I also I really appreciated like our time together in Guyana with you and with Rudy.
Rudy was a lot of fun.
Well, one, you made my life easy, and you had a lot of common sense. For those people who are listening, when Austin joined, he was an E4 when I met him, and he already had a bachelor's degree from Rice University, right?
That's
In,
right. Yeah.
in electrical engineering.
Also right. Yes.
And to this day, I was still have no idea like why why is this guy in the military and why is he an E4? Like why didn't he go OCS and like he could be the officer here because you looking at you like Rudy and I would talk about this when it was just Rudy and I when Rudy wasn't yelling at me when he wasn't yelling that's just how Rudy talked you
Yeah.
know it was like that guy he's like he should be an officer he's good he's like yeah I know Rudy I know it's like you need to get him to go to OCS it's like okay like Rudy what do you want me to do hold a gun to him like, like I can't force him to go.
It's funny when I was looking to join the military. So I guess the backstory is so I finished my undergrad in 5 years because the first 2 years I did music because I was trying to do math and music. I focused on music the first 2 years. Finished electrical engineering in those last three. Was thinking about medicine in the last year. My parents were like, "No, you need to finish a degree." I'm like, okay, let me go do that. Worked for a year, University of Texas, on the University of Texas research campus, designing sonar algorithms for submarines, and just wanted to get out, wanted to learn language, wanted to get medical training after all. Had always been interested in the military, and again, the hook was special forces, and that looked cooler than any of the officer jobs. And so, um, with the things that changed, like I mentioned earlier, like, well, let me go in anyway and see what happens. I would recommend to anyone who does have a degree, go in as an officer. You're still going to get exposure and experience, and getting out of the military makes it a lot easier as well in terms of finding a job and having some bullet points that it's easy to translate. I think there are a lot of transferable skills, and it's interesting. We have a lot of groups so I'm currently employed by Liberty Mutual. We have a lot of resource groups and resources for veterans, and part of that's like we're having conversations with some newer folks about how to translate that military experience into a way that makes sense in the corporate world. I mean, I literally just had a conversation this week about that. But there are a lot of things. But if you're going to go in, and you can go in as an officer, do that. There'll be more opportunities, even if the job descriptions don't look that cool.
Yeah, definitely. So I ended up being the battalion senior medic, right, for the 98th. And when we would get new medics in, I would tell them, look, you owe us a certain amount of time. During that time, do whatever units you have to. Go apply to PA school and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Go be a PA, and then you're an officer at the same time. And go. Then the worst thing you're going to do is you're going to have to do sick call at some division with some drunken private coming in saying that they can't run because their knee hurts, but they're just hungover. That's going to be your life dealing with that. But you're going to get the officer pay and a good skill out of it. So just move on.
Yeah, those are pretty phenomenal programs that the military has. That both the enlisted to officer like PA or enlisted to, I think that you can go to medical schools like UShoes or something like that. But
yeah, so there was actually one guy, Frank. This guy is the epitome of perseverance, right? Because he wanted SOCM, didn't make it. Ended up going to civil affairs, and it went down to Ranger School, spent however long it is, he spent twice that amount of time there because he kept recycling, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And he did. He was like, I don't know how you did it, but more power to you. Went back to Sockham, passed.
Nice. Good for him.
And then he decided, well, I have my degree, so I'm going to apply for this medical program. And he got accepted
Oh, sweet.
to go be a doctor. He's like, what do you think I should do? It's like, you need to get the hell out of here. That's what you need to do.
He's like, go.
Like,
Go.
why are you even thinking about it? Like, pack your
Yeah.
bags today. Tell your wife, hey, meet me over there.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I always like to see guys like come over to special operations, come over to civil affairs, PSYOP, special forces, whatever it is, but use it as a stepping stone to go higher, do
Mm-hmm.
something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that our experience in the military, my experience, what we did in Guyana and Colombia and doing the work that we did, it was building relationships and it was coordinating medical outreach. So it's like project management and partnership. And those are both very transferable skills as you think about getting out of the military, working with the team that we had. Um, so it was interesting getting out. When I got out, I went to my MBA program and I was trying to figure out where do I go after the military that's going to support my family and like provide a smooth kind of exit ramp. I actually looked at the medical route, but it just didn't. I was going to have to redo like a couple of years of prereqs and then go to medical school. I'm like, we're going to starve before I finish this. Like that one's out. I thought about seminary and similar story to medical school. I was like, well, look, that one's out. Hey, business school, 2 years, really 18 months, and like it's going to spit me out into will allow me to transition. I think that's what I really liked about business school is that I could go, not know what I wanted to be on the back end of it, but the programs, a lot of MBA programs are set up to be, it's like half school, half career search and exploration and preparation. And I found that really helpful coming out of the military. Because GI Bill paid for it, paid a good chunk of the expenses as well. But that's, definitely put that to use. And then major employers recruit on campus. And so they, I applied to several. I think my first year and a half, maybe first year, I looked a lot into real estate. I thought I was going to do real estate development or, I was going down that track because UNC had a good program. But I think that last year I wanted to just go ahead and have a job in the fall heading into my final year so I could do this leadership immersion so I could just know and not be worried about it in terms of the transition. Liberty was the only one that offered me a job. But it was also allowed me to come back to Texas where my family is. And it's been good. It was 9.5. So 9 years ago, in 2014, I've been here at Liberty because I got out in 2012, business school for 2 years, and then Liberty ever since. And it's been good because I feel like I'm well compensated for what I do. I'm in analytics now. I've been all around kind of the claims organization, but it's fun, provides well, and there's kind of room to grow and move around. So I appreciate that.
You said that Liberty was the only place that offered you a job. It's like, no, that's awesome. It's like all you need is one place to offer you a job. If it's the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny is, you knew from my time in the military, man of faith. And so, that was the prayer. It was like, hey, open the doors supposed to open, shut the doors are supposed to shut. And I tell you what, all the other doors did shut, even ones I thought I'm definitely getting an offer from this place. Nope, I did not. But it was grateful for being able to end up here. And it's funny. My pictures over here are outdated. I think that's a picture of my daughter from when we were probably in Colombia at the time that one was taken. So I need to update.
No, that's all right because on my phone I still have it's kind of dark, but picture of my daughter, right? She's a senior at the University of Alabama, and she hates that picture. And yet I'm going to keep that on my phone till the day I die.
Forever.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
it's like I'm your father. I can have whatever picture I want on there.
That's right. As I think about my transition, the resources, I'm not sure if the military has gotten better with this since I got out, but I don't feel like the military transition programs, at least at the time, were very good. I did the research to figure out kind of the programs, and there wasn't a whole lot of job search help as I recall, or helping me build a resume, or kind of any of that. There's a little bit of stuff, but looking back, I don't remember it being helpful.
So it has gotten better. Of course, that the pandemic set everything back, right? Because you had to do it online, and so as long as you were logged in, you could shut your camera off and then go take a nap, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's what you got out of it, what you put into it, right? So, but even the resume building, it's still very generic. They help you build a generic resume. They don't explain to you how to tailor it to the job.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's better than nothing, but it can improve. My biggest gripe with it was, can you please stop hiring veterans to teach these jobs, because they still speak to people like they're in the military, and you no longer have a rank. So stop yelling at me. Stop giving me the knife edge. It's like, because I don't care. Like, I don't. The lady who gave us the VA briefing, it's like, at lunchtime I had to ask her, can I just get the booklet and leave? Because I'm getting nothing out of your program. And she was offended, but she's like, well, take it if you have all the answers. Like, yeah, I don't need your help at all. Now, that's just me. I don't recommend anybody do that. But I never needed her help before. I didn't need it that day, and I don't need it now. And I never will. So I just left because I had other things to do.
Right. It's all about how you learn just by sitting through a class, trying to soak up information. Like if you're an auditory learner and she's going to share the stuff in the book, okay, great. But I prefer just let me read through this booklet that probably has a couple useful things, and I'll do it in much less time.
Yeah. So
But-
you mentioned UNC. Just so everybody knows, I want to make it perfectly clear. Austin has an undergrad from Rice University and an MBA from UNC Chapel Hill. Okay, so it's not like Fayetteville State or UNC out and out down by the Merck, or, Pembroke. They're fine schools, they're fine institutions, but like I explained to my daughter, who is the name of your college matters.
It
People
does.
don't like to say it does, but it does. It matters. So she's going to pursue an MBA, and she asked where. I said, you're applying to Duke, you're applying to UNC Chapel Hill, you're applying to Northwestern, and then you pick an Ivy League school. I don't care which one, pick one.
Yep.
So she picked Penn.
Yeah, and it makes a difference, particularly because I mentioned earlier, it's part school, part job hunt, like part career.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is companies coming on campus to I mean, earlier in the season, they come on to do informational sessions. Hey, we're having we'll give you dinner. Come hear about our company, and it's them sharing about the company. Later on, they'll actually come and do interviews on campus. And depending on what you want, well, I'll just say it this way: the best companies go to the best schools. Like when I went to UNC Chapel Hill, I think at the time it was in the top. I think it was in the teens, and it's still very good. I think I haven't looked recently; it's probably still there. But there is a difference in the accept rate that comes from those top tier schools, whether it's top 10 or top 20, and the recruiting that happens, and it's because of the reputation that those schools have for producing those candidates. So if you think about those MBA rankings, it's based those rankings are based on pre-MBA versus post-MBA salary, strength of the network, career growth, and career progression since you take your job after an MBA program. And so it's a lot of based on a lot of actual results and how much better standing it places you afterwards. So yes, all that to say you're absolutely right in terms of prioritizing those if she's able to, if you can, for your listeners out there.
So what I also have found is that if you're a veteran, a lot of these schools want to accept you. So maybe you don't have a perfect GPA, a 4.0, 5.0, whatever it is now. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're undergrad like me. I came in at a whopping 3.2. Not good, not bad. It's 70%, like everything I do. Right?
You got the piece of paper though.
Yeah. But it allowed me to go to Troy for my international relations degree. And then I applied to Irvine for the master's in criminology. And Irvine right now is top 5 in criminology degrees in the United States. And our initial class was a week long, right? And the other students were asking, well, what's the acceptance rate? How many people applied? And they got to me, it's like, Antonio, do you have any questions? I don't care if you accepted me because I'm a veteran. I don't care if you accepted me because I'm Latino, Mesoamerican. I don't care if you accepted me because I'm bald, I'm short, I'm fat. I don't care. I just want a seat in the program.
Yeah.
So if you're a veteran, apply, because a lot of these schools want to be veteran friendly and they want to help veterans out. So
yeah.
As long as you have, please make sure you have an undergraduate. Don't apply to the MBA program. You have no school whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Go ahead and start at the very beginning. And certainly if you are in the military and you're thinking about getting out or working towards that direction, take classes now. You need to finish off your undergrad. There is downtime. You just have to choose to use it for something productive versus, a host of other things that would be unproductive.
Yeah, I mean, in all of our rotations, I was able to do at least one class each time going out to include Iraq, right? And guys came back and they were buying new BMWs and boats. I was putting my money into a college. So, now I still work on Fort Liberty, and we'll see for how much longer. I don't want to do it and then go work somewhere else. Because that education has given me options to do other things.
Yeah. And I think about also, so there's some different programs that pair veterans up with, they're essentially trying to place veterans in jobs. I know that Liberty's worked with American Corporate Partners for mentorship. Hiring Our Heroes is a program that we've hired a number of veterans out of. You they essentially put them in a cohort, kind of scatter them around to a bunch of different companies, and the idea is that after the end of they're kind of an internship that they place into full-time roles. But those are really great opportunities if you can get in those. I think about schooling and the GI Bill. If you look at the GI Bill on the surface, you're like, oh, it pays, I forget what it is per year, like $12,000, $15,000 of tuition. And you're like, oh, that's not going to pay for in these Ivy League schools. Yeah, but a lot of them are involved with what's called the Yellow Ribbon Program. I'm not sure if it's still called that, but it essentially makes up the difference. So if you're going to a school that's $50,000 a year, then and GI Bill only covers to a point. Usually, that Yellow Ribbon Program will cover a lot more. So I wouldn't let that keep you out of it, because it can be really good. And you know what? After the military, having a school schedule for a little while was really nice. Like, I think when I first got back from Columbia, I'd been married. I think I'd been married 16 months, and I'd been deployed for 17. Like 17. I got this backwards. Been married. Anyhow, I'd been married, deployed longer than I've been home out of the time that I've been married. That's what I was trying to say. And so when I got to UNC, lived on campus, less than a mile away. It was a 9-minute walk to campus from our apartment. And having a few classes, going home, doing some homework, seeing the family. Oh, that was nice. That was real nice. It was like almost like a detox, decompress after that season.
So I think I mentioned to you that I'm in a boot camp, right, at Chapel Hill for data analytics.
I don't know if you told me it was Chapel Hill. That's cool. What do y'all learn? But you did mention the data analytics, which has piqued my interest. Tell me about that.
So this is barely the second week. So, we started out small and we were doing Excel, right, and we're working in VBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all excited because I'm having the message boxes pop up. It's like, I'm awesome. I just cured cancer. Woo! It's like, no, moron. This is basic stuff. This is anybody could do this.
This feels good.
It's like, watch a YouTube video and you can do it.
It's true, but still, you learn.
Yeah. So next week we're going to get into Python, and so there's several reasons why I started this, because it's not expensive, but at the same time it's not cheap, because it's a 6-month program and it's about $11,000.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to say that's a little pricey, and it is, but if you look into the job market, data analytics is something nice to have.
All over the place, yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. However, if I could get a job with the Durham Bulls, then I'm going to take it, or with the Carolina Hurricanes, the hockey team up here, then if I could get it with a sports team, I'll take it. But I did it for 2 reasons mainly. When I start doing my dissertation, I'm going to have to do some number crunching, right?
Sure.
And so I'm pretty good with Stata, but Stata, however you want to pronounce it, it doesn't really give you the presentation that you want. Like it's very dry, it's very vanilla. It's like the teacher talking in Ferris Bueller is like, these are my numbers, this is my data. It's like, and you don't want to bore people when you have to defend your dissertation, right? So
Yep.
I want some experience with the programs. Tableau, I've never used it, but I heard it's pretty hip. That's the thing to use.
Yeah, we used some of the Tableau before we switched kind of as a company to Power BI. But yeah, like our main tools are Excel, SQL, SAS.
Yeah.
There's some groups that are using Python and some of the more data sciencey type things.
Those are the two in the job search I've heard. It's like, do you know Python? Do you know SQL? Those are the two that, and just researching jobs in data analytics. Python, SQL, Python, SQL, and then they throw in there, oh, do you have any experience with Tableau? But no.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think about like when we're hiring for people within our analytics group, SQL is that's the sort of like the baseline technical skill. Our group doesn't use Python. Other sister groups that we have do. so they might want that. But those, I'd say, those are kind of like table stakes to learn some of those skills. It's really about the understanding how data fits together and the concepts and how you approach it to answer a question or try to solve a problem. I think within my team, what the skills that we're trying to develop are those around asking the right questions and framing the problem in such a way that we understand, getting to the data and visualizing it. Okay, now everyone can see that there's a trend line going in a direction, but it doesn't really tell you anything until you start asking, well, why is it going? Why is this trend, whatever it is, going down? And you start asking, is it because of X, Y, or Z? And then you start breaking it apart to help the business know, all right, we all agree that this doesn't look right or doesn't look good. So what are we actually trying to solve? What do we need to do differently? And that is like this analytical process. That's the real premium and skill. And I'll say also the hustle that we see is like if you can see that someone's really eager and willing to work hard and go after it, which is I think something that's very transferable from the military, sort of like a work ethic, not as common as it may be as I wish it was. Let's say it that way. That's very generous, right? But if you get in there and you want to work and figure it out, and that's you put a high premium on that of just like, hey, I don't know, but I'm gonna learn. Awesome, come in. We'll teach you the things you need to know.
So I understand what you're saying, but I also see I try to see things from different points of view now.
Uh huh.
So the hustle that you're talking about, right? The worth ethic.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying, right? Because between the hours of my work hours are 8 and 4, and so from 8 and 4, I have to do my job to the best
Yep.
of my ability. Now at 4:30, I'm done. Like
Oh yeah.
like the thing about like the military, because I referenced these two numbskulls that were in the military. I don't think you knew them, Benny Goodtimes and La Pierda, the Rock, right?
No, I don't think so.
The guy, the Rock. They call him La Pierda because he was a moron, right? Dense like a rock, but he would always tell people, they call me the Rock because I'm hard. No, you're a moron.
Is it
You- you're stupid. Um, of course, he made it to the rank of first sergeant, and he would keep his people till like 8 o'clock at night.
oh,
Um, so he could show the sergeant major, look how hard we're working. They weren't doing anything; they were just sitting in their team rooms and weren't allowed to go home.
that's yeah, and that's good clarification. I work really hard for about 40 hours a week, and it's also like this smarter and it curiosity. I think particularly in data analytics, there's a curiosity that, hey, why is this happening? If I got an answer, but why is this the answer? And trying to look into it. So I think being proactive in in those hours that you work. But because I'll tell you what, I don't like working late,
Yeah.
and for the most part, I don't. So, and I don't like it when my folks have to work late either. It's like your time's your time, and you should go enjoy that because we're paying you for this. There might be occasional times where we have a deliverable. Yeah, we're gonna pitch in and hit that, but for the most part, like we'll make it up somewhere else. And there's gonna be some days that are lighter. And so yeah, I I'm a
Yeah.
family guy. I value family. I really appreciate when I was in and we deployed. It came Christmas time. You're like, you said no, send him back. I'll stay here in Guyana or Colombia, and I appreciate that. You made it possible for me to get back. So thank you.
Well, I also knew that you had been married recently, and you had spent more time away from your family than you had with them.
Yeah,
And
it was true.
I didn't want you to go down the path like the majority of the people in our unit. The married and divorced within 3 years.
Yeah. I feel like we went to Colombia as like 25 people. Well, down on that deployment, 25 of us went to different countries. Four came back divorced, something like that. It was bad,
Yeah.
a bloodbath.
The sad thing is, I think that was probably one of the better percentages of how many people got divorced, because usually it's a little higher.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so working hard. It reminded me. I was talking to Enrique because he's into real estate, right? Real estate
Mhm.
investment. He doesn't flip houses; it's commercial real estate, and he has a podcast, right? And he talks about that. And I was telling him, it's like, Enrique, like, you know me and you know how I work, right? It's like, if I have to work hard, I'll work hard, but that's not like my first choice. It's like, why? It's like, and I've been told this throughout my life. It's like, you're lazy, right? You're lazy. You're lazy. It's like, my calculus teacher put it the best way I've ever heard. It's like, you are constructively lazy. And it's like, what does that mean? He's like, is that an insult? It's like, no, no, no. It's like, okay. And I didn't need anything else. He's like, you find a way to do the work without having to put in full effort. It's like, and that's what you need to do. Like, you need to find something where it's like you need to be efficient. Like, just find a way to do the job, meet the criteria, whatever that is, without expending full effort. And
Yeah.
I told him, Enrique, when I started this podcast, I was lying on my couch. It's like, and I just held up my iPad and I said, "Hey Siri," and she answered. I said, "How do I start a podcast?" And it came up. And then I said, "What's the best programs to start a podcast?" And it came up. I said, "Okay, I guess I'll start a podcast." And like, it literally took 10 seconds.
Amazing.
And I was asking him how he does it. He's like, "Wow, I use Zoom." It's like, you're killing yourself, buddy. Like, why? Like, there's programs that do it for you. Like, it's podcast for dummies. It's like I didn't. So I like my boss because he's like you, right? Like, we work from 8 to 4. Like, we might have to stay late every once in a while if classes are going on because the unit, they work 9 to 5, right? So they might want that extra hour. It's like, you might have to stay to 5 today, but tomorrow leave early.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll make it up. Don't worry about it. Or you pick the day that you want to leave early. I don't care.
Sure.
And that's what I appreciate. It's like, just do your job. I don't care how you do it. I was messing with him. It's like, so could I subcontract my workout to somebody? It's like, hey, it's like, if you're going to pay for it and it meets the standard what the customer wants, I don't care. All right.
Just take off the middle. Yeah.
Because I had this discussion with him about soldiers, right? Soldiers always want subject matter experts. Well, what's a subject matter expert? We are subject matter experts on Guyana.
Yeah.
Because how many people know? And when I came back and we had to go to, what is it? The medical review, SRC.
Oh yeah.
And I gave the guy my paperwork. He's like, Guyana. So how'd you like Africa? It's like, it was great, but I went to South America. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
And
how many people know about what was that little coffee shop called? The Oasis?
Oasis.
Oh man. So much coffee. So
It,
much.
it's still in. I briefed the guys that are going to Guyana. Look, this is where all the expats hang out. Don't talk about business here.
Yep.
It's like, because every country is represented there. Every country that has an embassy hangs out there. It's like, so don't talk shop.
Yeah.
But the soldiers, the SMEs, right? They don't know. So I told my boss, it's like, I'm thinking about just hiring actors and putting together a presentation, just telling them, hey, just read what's on the slide, but make it convincing. And just telling the soldiers, yeah, these are professors from so-and-so university. I was like, because they don't research it. They don't know.
I don't know.
And it's like, he's like, you can't do that. It's like, I'm not going to. It's like, but that's my point. It's like you have these young soldiers who are 21 years old. They have a high school diploma. They've never been out of the United States. I need a subject matter expert. Well, I am one. No, 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 no. I need somebody who works at a university. They're like, I just bring anybody in, and they wouldn't know the difference. Do you remember Renee, the crackhead in Guyana?
No,
Oh, so
I don't remember anything.
so you're not missing much, because he was a literal crackhead.
Okay.
He was a homeless man that smoked a lot of crack in his life, was missing all of his teeth, and he scared one of the teams down there because he walked up to them and asked them because Renee, remember the plates, right? They were diplomatic plates. So
That's right.
Renee was smart enough to remember the plates, and he would walk around Georgetown to find the plates and wait outside for the guys to come out. So he would ask every team for money because he knew that was an American team,
Interesting.
and he knew that the Americans were more willing to give him money just to get the hell out of here. Get out of my face here. Here's 200 Guyanese. Go away. And then Renee would keep the other crackheads away from it, right? Like he would work for it. Like he would keep, hey, man, leave him alone. Well, Renee, he had the crackhead twitch, so he would like, when he talked, like he couldn't control his eyes and his mouth, right? He was talking like this, but his mouth is moving like 5 times faster than the words that are coming out. And he asked one of the teams about that, like, hey, do you know this guy? And then he mentioned like 3 other people, scared him. They went back to the team house, reported it. They shut down the mission for like 3 weeks.
What? Wow.
I get a call from Miami. Hey, can you get on the red phone? It's like, wow, I'm the senior medic. Why would I have a red phone? Like what do you need to talk about that it needs to be read? And so I got on the red phone and they're asking. It's like, hey, do you know Renee? It's like the crackhead. It's like, is that like a code name you had for him? It's like, no, we called him Renee the crackhead because he literally smoked
Actually was.
as much crack as he possibly could. And then I was asked, it's like, well, are you sure he's not like a spy? Because those guys, they go deep, deep, deep undercover. Well, if Renee's a spy, he deserves whatever the equivalent of a Medal of Honor is in his country. That guy's been living on the streets for the past decade. Like, he's living the life now.
Yep. Wow.
And that's just my little 2 cents about like soldiers and just the military. Like, they get so carried away with stuff that really isn't important, that you start going down rabbit holes. And to bring it back to transitioning now, it's like, look, man, like we talked about before, you don't need 10 job offers. You just need one, right?
Yeah. Find something you want to do.
And
It would enjoy doing.
it doesn't even have to be the perfect job offer to start off. You can
No.
find a job, work there for a year, and then move on. Or 6 months, 2 months. Just don't be
Yeah.
one of those people who is hopping through jobs every 3 months.
Yeah. Because that does look bad, even in today's environment where we might expect someone to jump every year or two. Doing it any faster than that is frowned upon. Because if we
Yeah.
hire you, if we hire you, we don't want you to leave in a year, and don't give us a reason to think you will.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have all those jobs on there, it's like, will you even get the interview? It's like, this guy's going to quit in 4 months anyway, so what's the point? Why are we going to go through the hassle?
Yep. Yeah, our hiring I mean, it takes a long time to hire people. I feel like our process usually takes between the time where we open an offer to where we finally fill it and get someone in the door and get them up to speed. I mean, we invest a lot in people, and so it's probably 6 months before someone, by the time we open the rec to when they're pretty self-sufficient, maybe longer. And so to invest that kind of time is for someone who's not going to stay. Is we don't want to do that. We want people to stay. We want people to have a long career.
Yeah, why not? And if you're like, when I got this job, I was like already looking for another job, right? Um, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay there. But why not give it a chance? Why not like
Hmm.
see what the environment is, my coworkers? I've learned a great deal from my coworkers who are never been in the military, and I greatly appreciate that because stuff that we put up with in the military is like we don't have to put up with that. Like no,
Right?
why would we put up with that nonsense? It's like I thought we had to. It's like no. It's like like hey, let's all clean up the hallway. It's like I'm not cleaning up the hallway. It's like we don't have to. It's like no, we're not in the army. Oh, okay, awesome. Then I won't either.
Yeah.
And it's just stupid stuff like that where was brainwashed for 22 years. I have a whiteboard in my office and it's still on the floor. Right? And I was told it's been a year now. It's like, hey, you can put that up whenever you want. It's like, awesome. It's not going to go up because I wasn't hired to be a handyman. I don't do construction. And so it's just there on the floor. It's like, are you ever going to use it? It's like, yeah, if it ever gets put up. It's like, well, when are you going to put it up? Never. I was like,
It's like whenever
okay.
you have someone do it. All right.
And there's like, you can take it out. And they're like, well, why don't you move it out? Well, because of my shoulders, I'm not going to lift that thing because it's too much weight. Like, oh, okay. And I'm not BSing. That's just the truth. It's like, I'm not going to injure myself physically. I'm not going to move heavy objects around. That's not my job. That's not why I was
Yeah.
hired. I'm willing to help out. Like, yeah, I'll take my trash out. I'll do stuff, but I'm not going to go to the hallway and strip the floor and wax it.
Well, that just brought back bad memories. Oh man.
Now, I'm going to be honest. There are some days when I just think about like life would be so much easier if I could just be responsible for stripping the floor and just waxing it. Just
Maybe
spending.
you could after you get this PhD, get it to your next job in you know janitorial services. Your PhD in janitorial service, custodial operations.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know what my dissertation would be on. Comparative analysis of Mr. Clean and Mop and Globe.
Whatever the green stuff is.
Or what would they use in the 98th all the time? I forgot. It was some stuff that I saw in South America. I'd never noticed it before.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's all we use.
That was it's funny. I have memories back to Guyana and Colombia. It's just like driving the windy roads down the mountain, and or in Guyana avoiding potholes and driving probably faster than we should have.
Or being on the other side, driving on the other side of the road.
I mean, yeah, because in
That was,
Guyana it was on the left, right?
yeah, and then that would be fine, but then uh, so fortunately we had regular trucks, but on the second rotation, um, we had to replace one of the trucks out, so driving the stick shift was on the other side, so you were sitting on the
Oh
right.
no,
So you're like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, like you hear people grinding the clutch.
that's fantastic.
It's like, bro, pull over. I'm gonna drive. You had your shot. Like you can't do it. Like pull over. I got it.
Oh man,
So yeah, it's it was an awesome time. They finally opened up a movie theater out there, so they're moving up in the
yeah.
world.
You could so what you could do more than just go to a casino,
Yeah, and
lose money on blackjack.
upset everybody there because you're on the end. Hit me! No! Shut up!
Oh, I
Yeah.
think you hit your 10 years down there while we were or you re-upped something. You went
It
career while we were down or whatever. I forget what it's called.
yeah, in depth, yeah.
In depth. That's it.
So I did that because they offered to transfer my GI Bill to my children at the time.
Hmm.
And so I figured I better jump on this before the Army decides it's a bad deal and come up with some crazy rules. And once they realize people are doing it, it's like, oh, no, no, we need to change the rules because too many people like
Yeah.
it. So we have to make sure people don't like it. And so that paid for Ashley's undergrad, her
Oh,
complete,
perfect.
all of her undergrad. And so her MBA, we're going to use our like Chapter 35 since the VA said, not only are you 100% disabled, Mr. Rodriguez, you are 370% disabled. It's-
370. That's
yeah.
that's impressive.
And I said, well, what about like if you remove my sleep apnea? It makes no difference. It makes no difference. I was like, so what are you saying? It's like you enjoy these years because your mobility is going to go downhill pretty quick. It's like awesome.
Yeah, something to look forward to. So, speaking of that, I found out recently that Texas has this thing called the Hazelwood Act, which for veterans is kind of like the GI Bill. So I've used parts of my GI Bill, but if I wanted to, I believe I can also use this Hazelwood Act either for myself or for my kids, and it's almost like a whole other GI Bill. So I think good to look at state programs as well as like the ones the military give because they're out there, and I didn't even realize it till recently.
Yeah, definitely. So I never want to go back to California, not even to visit, not to catch a connecting flight, nothing. I don't even want to fly over the state. However, for veterans and dependents of veterans, they can apply to if you're found to be 30% disabled by the VA, you can go to a Cal State tuition free.
Okay.
So that's fair. Not a UC. They're not going to let you go to UCLA or UC Berkeley. No, it has to be a Cal State. That's all right. You can still go to San Luis Obispo or San Diego State. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some nice schools, nice areas. You'll be all right.
Yep.
Florida also has some pretty good programs. North Carolina, not so much. Not so much. Not for dependents, but for the veterans, yeah, like you can get some free money in North Carolina.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I probably should finish off my day here. We're headed out to the country to visit my dad this weekend. Go out there. We'll celebrate my youngest's 11th birthday. Probably do some shooting. It's funny, I've done more shooting since I got out of the military than we did when we were in. But should be
So before we go, we usually like offer an opportunity. Are there any businesses that you'd like to promote? And do you have any shout outs that you want to give to anybody?
I hadn't thought of that.
Well, I'll give my shout outs.
Okay.
So the last episode, we give you a couple of minutes to think about it, or whatever you want to talk about or promote.
Sure.
So the last episode I did was about why I find the term Hispanic to be offensive, right? And so I upload all my episodes to Facebook and to YouTube. They go out on Twitter, the links, LinkedIn, everywhere, anywhere you can find a podcast, it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I promoted this episode, and I had quite a bit of interaction. And for everybody who has interacted with it, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I had a lot of people who disagreed with my topic. I don't think they actually listened to the podcast, which is perfectly fine. It's not for everybody. It's meant for a very specific group, veterans. I had one gentleman who was very, very upset. He wanted to ask me who in the hell gave me the right to talk about something like that. Which I appreciate it because it's like, wow, you took a couple of minutes out of your days to write this very aggressive and emotional message to me. And I don't care because it's my opinion, and
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to state your opinion. You can like my podcast, not or not. All I ask is that if you listen to it and if you think it's garbage, just pass it on to a veteran, someone else that you might know, because they might find value out of it. I've had officers on here who have said, like, I don't agree with what you're saying about officers. Okay. You're not going to change my mind, and I'm not going to change yours, so it doesn't really matter. It's just different opinions.
Yeah.
That's okay. Because I don't owe anybody an explanation, and I sure as hell don't need anybody's approval. I'm not asking for permission. Those days are over. So if you're listening, if you found that episode to be controversial, if you found the title to be controversial, maybe you should listen to the episode, because it explains everything and why it's offensive and why it's not. Why I don't like the term, especially I don't like Hispanic, I don't like Hispanic white, and I sure as hell don't like Latinx, as we discussed before.
Yep.
If you have to call me anything, I'd prefer American, because every time I deployed, I didn't see the Mexican federales next to me. I saw other Americans.
Yeah, you had the stars and stripes on your shoulder, not
Yeah.
anything else.
So that's what I prefer to be called, if anybody wants to know. American. After 11 deployments, I think I've earned it.
I would think so. Because I think about, there's a movie that came out recently called, I think it was Sound of Freedom. It's a movie about trafficking that happens down. I think this was actually based out of. This video is kind of based on things that happen in Colombia, but it happens all over. But our family is partnering with a ministry down in the DR, it's a Dominican called Raiz, and they're essentially trying to combat that, just shortcut some of the factors that lead to people kind of engaging in the sex trafficking industry, feeling like they have to kind of put themselves in that position. And so that their organization, that nonprofit, is raizdr.org. They're working on getting a building, continuing to do stuff. They got down there right before COVID, so that their website's raizdr.org, and we're going to take our family down over spring break, and probably some folks from our church as well, just to kind of help along what they're doing. They do some feeding, do some education, trying to help people break these cycles of poverty and trafficking. It's sad, and so it's one of the things that we're up to these days. And if anyone out there wants to, follow or support, they'd be happy for it. I know they just came back stateside for a bit for some health things, but their kids are running the ministry down there. So, Raiz, they're good folks. Tim and Holly Garland.
Well, thanks, Austin. That's very important. I'm not surprised that you're doing something like that. You're always a good person with a good heart, and thank you for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, you're welcome. We gotta steward these lives that we have here well before they're over, and we.
All right, so for everybody out there who's listening, whoever's listening in Minnesota, thank you very much. Before I had like one download, now it's I only had one listener who downloaded one episode. It seems to have caught on with a few people. I've hit 1,000 downloads in Minnesota, which is awesome. To go from one in a year to 1,000 in a couple of weeks, so I appreciate it greatly. For transitioning military members, for veterans out there, just remember you have something that makes you unique. You have something that makes you special. Identify what it is, maximize it to its fullest potential, and I know you'll be successful. Until next time, talk to you later. I'm Tony. This is Austin. Zot, zot, zot. And roll tide.